It's Monday, and we had another Monday episode of Beyond the Gates that had a lot going on. But the biggest news today was that the show was renewed for a season 2, which is very exciting. Very happy for the show. I've been enjoying it. So that was really good to hear. I don't know if that means if it's renewed in all of 2026 or until September of next year. Either way, though, a renewal is fantastic. Before we dive into this episode, you can support the channel by subscribing to my Patreon, patreon.com/OCGTV, where I'm currently watching and reacting to old soap operas, One Life to Live, and Days of Our Lives. All right. As for this episode, I still have many opinions, and a lot of my opinions about the Duprees just become more and more of the same as we've moved along from some of these episodes. I've been talking for the past few videos now how the hypocrisy of the Dupree family continues to irk me. And there was more of that today. I don't even know where to start because so much is going on today. We might as well start with Leslie visiting Nicole. It was good to see Nicole give it back to Leslie. I did enjoy Leslie trying to fake cry to Nicole, still trying to be the victim in all of this with Ted, and Nicole wasn't buying it, and so Leslie gave up on the fake crying pretty quickly. But yeah, it was good to see Nicole give it back to Leslie and call out Leslie on all of her bullshit. So good for Nicole there. As for Leslie, I do still fear, as I was starting to say last week, that the character is slowly becoming more and more of a one-note crazy character, which is not great for me personally, in my opinion. She's still entertaining as hell right now, though. I am still living for Trisha Mangrantz, if that's the actress's name. Her portrayal of Leslie is very entertaining. She's doing a great job. I just hope that the show is able to keep layers for the Leslie character and not just make her a one-note crazy villain, which we see too often in modern soap operas. On the other side of things, Ted was getting berated by Dani to start the episode. At the end of Friday's episode, Dani came to visit him, so Dani gave him shit about being a bad husband, a cheater. Ted said he was nothing like Bill. Dani said he's worse than Bill because Bill never pretended to be a good guy. So Dani taking a big shot there, and that's big coming from Dani because Bill did so much to her. Although Dani is such a simp for Bill, so that I guess that comment wasn't that surprising. But that wasn't it. After Ted tried to basically kick Dani out of his hotel room, Anita showed up to also berate Ted. So the fallout of this has been a lot of people coming for Leslie, people coming for Ted, people coming for Eva. Today for Eva, it was actually Mona coming for Eva. Mona went to the casino because at one point Leslie told her that she won all this money on the slots. And that's how she was able to pay for a bunch of things. So Mona went there only to find out there isn't slots, only tables. And so she caught Leslie in a lie there. Randy was trying to get Mona to stay to gamble, and she agreed to it when she saw Eva gambling, and thus she sat by Eva to confront Eva about her misdeeds. And Mona's saying that she understands that this was Leslie's plan, but she calls out Eva for being a grown woman and going along with it. And I thought Mona went a little too far by the end of that. Like, I get Mona's being upset with Leslie and Eva hurting her reputation with the Duprees because she and Nicole are close and she was the one that went out of her way to get Eva the job as Nicole's assistant. So that's why Mona's feeling some kind of way. But on the other hand, I'm like, I wish the show had some better have-nots than we're getting. Because I enjoyed Leslie and Ashley's mom and Mona always sitting around gossiping about the Duprees. and they're like the have-nots on the outside of the gates. But now Mona just looks like a sycophant for the Dupree family. And I don't know. I like I said, I get why she's upset with Leslie and Eva, especially Leslie. But by the end of that, when Eva said something along the lines that she's lost everyone, and Mona said good, it was a bit extreme to me for Mona. So, there's a lot of people out there that like Mona as a secondary character. I'd rather have Shanice branch out and have a bigger role than Mona. So, but Mona got her licks in today. She went to go visit Leslie and confront Leslie about her lies. Leslie thought that they were still going to be friends because she's a delusional crazy person. And then Mona told her that that's not the case and basically told Leslie that hell was made for people like her. And so she left Leslie there talking to herself about everyone turns their backs on her, like it's not Leslie's fault for everyone turning their backs on her. And that's exactly when Ted arrived, and Ted was upset because he found out from Anita and Danny that Leslie went and visited the Dupree family after the whole ordeal at Ted and Nicole's anniversary party. And that's when we find out from Leslie that this maybe was not all about hurting Ted. We've seen lately these fantasies that Leslie's been having about Ted. And in this confrontation with Ted, she tells Ted that she never wanted to hurt him because Ted said that she's ruined his life and that wasn't what she intended allegedly. She's still in love with Ted, so she says. And on one hand, it's hard to know exactly what it is that Leslie wants. But on the other hand, I guess I have to believe that she is actually still in love with Ted. And thus, like, I don't know if she's just crazy and she doesn't know what she wants, or if this is the whole thing that she wanted the whole time. I had some good comments last week because I've been trying to understand Leslie's motives, and I don't remember what video it was on to talk about it, but I'll look here real quick. Give me a second. I guess to keep talking, though, about this confrontation, by the end of it, Ted saying he's never going to need Leslie for anything, and she's saying, we'll see about that. I mean, I do think Leslie's going to have a lot of more things up her sleeve. That's the only thing that makes sense with her illogical plans. She's been trying to push Eva as a Dupree, even though Eva's a Richardson and not a Dupree. But then she's also kicking Eva out of the house. So even if she wants Eva to be a Dupree to get money from the Duprees, her logic of how to get there isn't really making sense to me. Anyway, the comment was from Shabritha Jennings, who said, unless you have dealt with narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths, and any other personality disordered individuals, then you will never understand Leslie's character. You have to understand personality disorders. I have had experience with people like this. I also study psychology. So Leslie's behavior and the way her character is being written makes complete sense to me. Trust me, if you ever dealt with people like this, they will leave you confused. The whole being, she's saying that Leslie's whole being is rooted in confusion. And yeah, I guess that's the case, because to me, Leslie's all over the place right now. And we got to talk about, I guess, Anita and Danny. Well, Danny inviting Eva to the table. So Eva ended up winning some money at the casino. Didn't want to gamble anymore, unlike Doug, who in this episode ended up gambling again right after telling Randy he was done with gambling. He's still addicted to his gambling and is relapsing with the gambling. But I'm not going to get into that much. But Eva won some money at the casino and left with the money because she wants to be able to buy her some dinner before she loses all her money. She ends up going to Uptown. Dani and Anita see her because they are there drinking. Well, Anita was drinking. I assume Dani was probably drinking too because she always is, but I don't remember if she was or not. But anyway, Dani saw Eva walk in, invited her to join them, and they had their little hypocritical talk with Eva. And the rest of the month's going to get really bad for Eva, and she's my favorite character. So my videos might just turn into me dragging all the other characters except for Eva. If they continue to come for Eva, which they're going to, because like I said, a lot of bad shit's about to happen to Eva. Even more, once again, Anita went on this spiel to Eva about, we have charities out there, and I'm glad that Ted is gonna help you get a place. And then Anita gets cold and bitchy saying, but you're never going to be accepted into the Dupree family. And on one hand, Eva's not a Dupree. She is Ted's daughter, at least for now. We know the speculation that she could end up being Nicole's daughter too, which I will hate, but if that's the case, whatever. I guess that could be the out in this, and to finally get Eva's redemption, and she's actually a Dupree. But to me, it's like, why would anybody want to be a Dupree? Who wants to be these hypocrites where everyone kisses your ass every time something crazy happens to the Duprees? I'm already sick of it. And we're only, 2.5 months into the show? This was just, to me, Anita once again being holier than thou hypocrite. Oh, we have charities. We just continue to be told that the Dupree family, they do a lot of good. But anytime we're shown anything from the Dupree family, they're always doing some shady, underhanded shit, or being mean girls, being menaces. Don't like them. And speaking of things I'm not liking anymore, Joey and Vanessa. They have chemistry. They do have chemistry, but I am now getting bored of them having the same conversations over and over. And this happens a lot in soap operas. But if they're just going to have an affair, let's start moving it along, because them having the same boring conversation is just losing momentum with Joey and Vanessa. So they're kind of just becoming, to me, the older version of Derek and Ashley, just the older, boring version of them. So I hope they actually start to move them in the next week, or they might lose me completely with Joey and Vanessa too. And as this fire truck goes by, let's end on a positive note, though. I was not expecting Martin to be the first Dupree character to soften towards Eva. That was a positive, unexpected thing. I expected Nicole to maybe be the first person to eventually warm up to Eva. And I still think she will be one of the first. But Martin today was trying to tell Kat, who of course hates Eva and will never want anything to do with Eva, which is good because they need to keep that rivalry going. It's one of the most entertaining parts of the show. But Martin was saying, basically accepting Eva as a sister and feeling sorry for Eva for being a whole pawn in Leslie's plans. And a lot of different characters talked about that today, how Eva was just a pawn in Leslie's plans. And I think that is the show saying Eva's making progress right now, but judging by this week's preview, she might be taking some many steps back if Leslie is going to set Eva up to take the fall for what happened to Laura. So, yeah. It was a great episode, though. Enjoyed it a lot outside of Joey and Vanessa boring me. And the Duprees will just continue to get on my nerves anytime they're being hypocrites. And a lot of that has to do with the writing of the show, though. If the writing was better for Vernon and Anita, and maybe even Martin, then maybe I wouldn't feel as bad. I also don't like how Dani's always saying, I wanted to drag Leslie. She had her opportunities to drag Leslie, and she didn't. So that's just all talk to me from Dani. And I think Dani doesn't want to step to Leslie because Leslie is crazy. And if it were to get physical, Leslie would drag Dani's ass. Okay? All right. That's all for today's review of Beyond the Gates.